afternoon. On behalf of the Board of Directors, it is my great honor to welcome you to the fourth annual HMHB Inspiring Mothers of Georgia Awards Luncheon. We are so grateful that you have selected to spend your precious Sunday hours with us today. I hope that at the end of this event, you will feel, as I do, that spending time honoring the hardest working and the hard work of mothers and those who support them is well worth our investment. As you join the event, please share your name and where you are in the world so that we can know where you are in the chat or in Facebook, depending on where you're watching from. I would also like to thank you for your support during this pandemic and this virtual event, which is a first for us. I would be remiss if I did not thank our sponsors, including our presenting sponsor, Dr. Erica Francis Scott and her family. Also, Northside Hospital, WellCare, AmeriGroup, Public Supermarts Charities, Cat Plasma, CareSource, Auto Owners Insurance, and last but not least, Siegel Insurance. I would also like to thank our host committee for personally sponsoring this event and bringing together an incredible group of people for our celebration here today. They are LaTasia Brown, Cheryl Carr, Karen Hannaran, Shatrice Jones, Erica Francis Scott and family, Sean Smith, Julie Zaharatos, Dana Donaldson, Ashlyn Martin, Maria Henriquez, and Tangela Parker. Thank you also to our dynamic planning committee, our board of directors, our volunteers, and of course, the hardest working staff in Georgia, our HMHBGA Coalition of Georgia staff. At this time, I would like to introduce you to our honorable MC, Emmy Award-winning television and radio journalist Lisa Rayam is the host and senior producer of WABE's flagship program, Morning Edition. Rayam is a well-known in the Atlanta community as a tenacious, well-connected reporter and a trusted anchor, including for WAGA TV, Fox 5, PBS, GPB TV, and WSB Radio. She's also my soror. Pinkies up. Please welcome Lisa Rayam.
Janicia, thank you so much. I am so honored to be here today. And I like that you're wearing pink too. Pink is a pretty powerful color for women, right? Well, I'd like to officially welcome you to the 2020 Inspiring Mother of Georgia Virtual Awards celebration. We are here today in honor of incredible women all across Georgia, and there's so many of you. We call you mom. You have so many different labels. The women, though, in general, who sacrifice each and every day, who show strength through diversity, who show compassion to those most in need, and who generously love and care for their children, their families, and their communities. We welcome you today and we honor you today. Today is your moment. You know, this is so special to me. I was asked to MC this event a couple of months ago, and, they said it's in tribute of mothers and it's in tribute of babies. And what a perfect combination, especially when there's so much grim news in the world. Women, we keep it moving, and as mothers, we do so in a huge, gigantic way. So it is my honor to serve here today. Here are a few key pieces of information you need to know throughout the afternoon. Whether you are on Zoom or Facebook Live, we want to hear from you. We're not in person, but we want to feel you. We want to hear from you. So please post your comments in the chat box so we know who you are. And that chat box is normally on the right side of the screen there. And although we can't be here together, we are still going to award two winners today, two very special honors. One for the and get it. We'll wait for you. Go to your closet, dust it off, and put it on top of your head. Our judges will select the winners today. And as many of you know, we do this every year to honor the fact that mothers, women in general, wear so many hats and are so vital to the community, to their families, to their homes. Importantly, though, this event, this wonderful day, this wonderful afternoon is also a fundraiser. So your admission was free today, but we're hoping that you will consider making a contribution to support this critical work that's taking place throughout Georgia. We have some great prizes for you as well throughout the day. So please stay tuned and sit on the edge of your seats, because if you donate today, you will be entered to win some amazing raffle prizes. And we have a whole list of them. Listen, American Girl doll is a possibility. We have some beautiful jewelry sets, designer purses, gift cards, and much, much more. So pay attention to the chat room. You don't want to miss this opportunity. You can donate by texting simply MOTHER to 678-214-2124, or go to www.hmhbga.org/donate anytime before the event ends to enter to win. We also have prizes for the first person who logged on today. We appreciate your enthusiasm, as well as the winners of our trivia contest. So you can find that link in the chat box as well, or we're going to ask you to follow up by email, and you will receive your gift after today's event. HMHBGA serves more than 50,000, you hear me, 50,000 families every single year through their programs, and has made some pretty huge gains for mothers and families throughout Georgia since their founding in 1974. So this is a big organization who makes a big difference in the community. So please support in any way that you can. It is now my honor to introduce our keynote speaker for today. I've heard her many times, and you're in for a very special treat. Reverend Natosha Reid Rice. Natosha Reid Rice currently serves as the Associate General Counsel for Real Estate and Finance at Habitat for Humanity International. Reverend Reid is also the founder of Fresh Rain for Life Ministries, a non-denominational ministry that provides a sanctuary for who? For women in the midst of life through worship, services, retreats, Bible studies, workshops, and outreach. She currently serves as the Minister for Public Life at All Saints Episcopal Church. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're there, please welcome Reverend Natosha Reid Rice as she shares with us words of inspiration today. The Reverend Natosha Reid. Please give her a round of applause.
Good afternoon. I'm so delighted to be here with you all today. I'm so excited to be a part of this wonderful celebration, and so excited to join in with you all as we congratulate the 6 recipients that are receiving their honor today. So I'm so excited, and I'm so grateful to have this wonderful opportunity to bring a few words of inspiration and, I hope, encouragement. I want to talk just for a few minutes about the power of mothering and what that means for us today and how that applies. I'll begin by first sharing with you that my understanding of motherhood began when I was actually too young to even know it was beginning. When I was in 6th grade, I joined in with classmates to create a Mother's Day card. You know, the ones that we did in elementary school with the pretty construction paper, tissue paper, hearts and flowers and pinks and lavenders, light blues and oranges and yellows. I then wrote a nice little message inside of my card and put in my backpack to bring it home. I couldn't wait to get home and take it out and get ready for the upcoming Sunday, which was Mother's Day. So I waited with great expectation. And finally, Sunday came. I found the card where I had hidden it and brought it to the table when I went in for breakfast. I took it out and I said, "Surprise," and I handed it to my dad. You see, my mother left when I was 7, and I was raised by a single father. When my dad received the card, he opened it, he read it, and he paused, and he looked at me with a smile. And he figured I could tell out, he tried to figure out how to say it as gently as possible. And he said, honestly, Baby, thank you for the card, but I will never be your mother. But I promise you that I'll be the best daddy that I can be for you. I remember feeling somewhat sad, but also happy at the same time. I knew then what I always knew, that my dad loved me to the moon and back. But I was also sad because once again, I realized that I was a motherless child. Fast forward some 20 plus years when I was newly divorced and now having to raise my two boys as a single mother, while trying to figure out how I was going to maintain a full-time job as a practicing attorney in a large law firm, while raising two Black boys and all that that means in this country as a single mother. Interestingly enough, those words that my father spoke to me decades earlier came to mind and set me free. I realized in the midst of overwhelming and emotional moment that I was having that I could never be their father. I could never fill all the gaps that were left as a result of my divorce. But I also knew, after thinking back on those words that my father spoke to me, that I would do everything I could to be the best mother they could ever have. Being a mother is no joke. And I think those of you on today who are mothers, whether biologically or spiritually, whether you're the best auntie in the world, trying to figure it all out and overcome the many challenges that we face at home and in the world can sometimes be too much. And if that isn't enough, all of the social media postings by the mothers who seem to have it all figured out definitely do not help. And yet and still, we must press on to be the best mothers that our children could have. So this morning, this afternoon, I want to talk with you a little bit about how powerful being a mother and committing to that can be. For we know that even many of us, becoming a mother in and of itself is challenging. The stats regarding the prenatal challenges can sometimes be overwhelming. In their article, Eliminating Racial Disparities in Maternal and Infant Mortality, Jamila Taylor, Christina Navoa, Katie Ham, and Shilpa Padkey wrote in their article that in the United States, which has the highest maternal and infant mortality rates among comparable developed countries, even if that is not bad enough, the survival rates for African American mothers and their infants are even more dismal. African American women across the income spectrum and from all walks of life are dying from preventable pregnancy-related complications at 3 to 4 times the rate of non-Hispanic white women, while the death rate for Black infants is twice that of infants born to non-Hispanic white mothers, and some data and stats also show that number to be 3 times as high. I myself personally struggled in my pregnancies. I experienced 2 miscarriages between my sons. So I know how heart-wrenching and how, in many instances, complicated pregnancy, the desire to want to mother, and some finally getting to mothering, only to realize that once you have your babies, the challenges don't cease. Today's challenges of COVID, the pandemic, amplifies the healthcare disparities that I've already talked about, plus so many others, and the impact of those inequities on the health of the most vulnerable. Having to raise our children in the midst of this pandemic, having to continue to be their everything in some instances and feel like we're a failure if we can't be their everything, is challenging psychologically, spiritually, and physically. We don't even have clarity yet on whether or not our kids are going to be able to go to school and give us a break. We're still trying to figure all these pieces out. If they stay home, perhaps it's safer. But oh God, that means that I then have to be the teacher. I have to work a full-time job. I have to figure out how to take care of the household, cook some food, make sure it's healthy. The list goes on and on and on. Where do we look for hope? Where do we look for examples of how to mother in this moment? I know I began by saying there's a power in mothering, but some of us are wondering out, where do we gather that power? For me, oftentimes I have to look back at my foremothers. I didn't have a mother growing up. I had a wonderful grandmother and a powerful great-grandmother who I look back on and realize that, my goodness, those women had to mother their children in Snellville, Georgia, in the shadow of the headquarters of the KKK. Their brown, Black children, they had to give them hope in the shadows of that during the era of Jim Crow, during a time where there was overt racism and overt messaging telling their children that their children were less than. If they can do it, I can do it. I not only look back to my foremothers, but I also turn to my faith. Whatever your faith tradition may be, my prayer for you is that you find a soft place to land at some point in your day, and if not in your day, in your week. You have to rest. You must find time to gather your thoughts, put together your strategies. You must find the time to weed out the negative thinking that is trying to creep in, the fearful thinking that's trying to take away from your energy. You must find time, my sisters, to fill your cups. Perhaps it's reading a book, taking a walk, having a bath, drinking a glass of wine. I did say a glass because sometimes we can go too far. Put on your own oxygen mask first, because it is only then that you can give life to your children. It may also be that this is the time where you turn to honest friends, to other women who are trying to figure this same thing out. I have the best laughs with my mother sisters when we share, girl, I thought I was gonna, get it right this time, but it didn't work out. Whether it's a recipe, whether it's a strategy to try to get our teenage children to actually have full-blown conversations with us, right? Have laughs and opportunity to gather with other moms who are trying to figure it out as well, and who probably are doing it just as imperfectly as you're doing it. It is important to fill up on this, because mothers, I hate to say it, we have work to do. We have work to do not only for our children, but with organizations like the one we are honoring and being a part of today. We have work to do for our community and for other mothers who don't have an opportunity to speak up. Once you've had this opportunity to reflect, to refresh, to gather, to breathe, I then want to encourage you to take hold of this power of mothering. Mothering allows us to be narrative writers and to shift the perspective in our own homes. And truly, once we do it there, to do it broadly. Go on a treasure hunt with your family. I began asking this question with my own family. What are the treasures in this moment? I know this moment is tough. I know you can't go play how you like to play. You're not in school the way you'd like to be in school. You're not doing the things that you ordinarily would do, but we can find some treasures in this moment. Perhaps a treasure is actually having a full conversation with your child. Before the pandemic, we were rushing and going and going and going. Truly, one of the treasures of this moment is getting to know my children again, hearing their thoughts all the way through, not rushing them to finish because I have to go to the next meeting or join the next call or go to the next event. What are the treasures in this moment? As a mother, you have the wonderful opportunity to curate narratives for your children and for your family. Things may be dark right now, but you can be the storyteller, the one who lets them know great things can happen in the dark. For a seed germinates, breaks open, and prepares its journey to go forth and to blossom into a beautiful flower. It breaks open in the dark. A butterfly that we now fortunately can see flying all around became beautiful because it was first a caterpillar that went through a cocooning in the dark. We become the curators of the narratives, how we face each day, how we face this moment. One of my favorite writers and authors wrote this, that you do build in darkness if you have faith. When the light returns, you have made yourself a fortress. You may even find yourself needed and sought by others as a beacon in their darkness. May we begin to create narratives and perspectives that become beacons for so many others. Because truly, not only are we the narrative writers, we're the hope givers in this moment. We have to remind ourselves every day, even though the pandemic isn't over, even though this moment continues, that every day is a new day. Every day is a new gift. When we look back at this moment in 5 years, in 10 years, what are we going to say about it? Are we going to say that the virus, are we going to talk about all of the negative things? Or are we going to do something right now in this moment that brings forth a hopeful testimony that when we look back at it, we didn't lose that time. No, we made the best use of that time. Life doesn't always give us lemonade. It gives us lemons and we make the lemonade. Life doesn't always give us the roses. Sometimes we only get to the thorns, but if we keep pressing, we get to the beautiful blossom. We've got to be the ones that continue to craft the narrative that gives the hope, that allows our children to know people have come through the fire before and have made it. Finally, I want to encourage us to start a mothering movement. What does that look like? I posit today that mothering movement looks like creating a circle of advocates, a circle of mothers, a circle of women who are minded like mothers, who want to create and nourish and nurture community, nurture our nation, nurture our households for sure, but to expand that nurturing, to give grace in the process. Mothers can rise to the forefront of this moment right now. With the debate over schools, with the debate over the care of our children, this is our moment to speak up, to insist on fairness, to insist on adequate health care, to insist on equity in places where injustice and inequity have thrived, to put a spotlight on what type of education are we actually offering our children in this country, the wealthiest nation in the world and on the earth. We need to help not only our children, but the larger society to imagine a new world where we can focus on our children, yes, but when we now expand that to saying, let's now imagine a world where our children, where my children and your children can thrive, one that will eventually be free of COVID or at least a vaccine to contest it, one with adequate health care and access to quality education. Imagine with me a world where neighbors truly love neighbors as themselves, with safe and secure and well-resourced communities, where everyone has access to affordable, decent housing options. Look at the platform that's laid out by Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies of Georgia. Join in on those advocacy initiatives, extending pregnancy Medicaid coverage from 60 days to 1 year from the date of delivery, supporting legislation that protects pregnant women and new mothers from discrimination in the workplace, increasing the enrollment and utilization of the Planning for Healthy Babies Medicaid waiver program. Mothers together, if we band together, if we extend our gaze up, begin to push through advocacy, through messaging, through our efforts, we can reduce Georgia's abysmal infant and maternal mortality rates. We, as mothers, can lead the courageous conversations on race and equity. You do realize that as a mother, you are the curator of your child and therefore the next generation's view of their neighbor. That is a huge responsibility and one that each and every mother should take seriously. We teach our children how to love people, people who look like us and people who look differently from us, how to appreciate other cultures and languages, how to appreciate the lifestyles of other folks, that we can love one another as we love ourselves. We are the ones that teach that. May we then grow our circle of mothers that we lean on, that we rely upon. We can't do this alone. We need each other, mothers. We're not perfect. We get some things wrong, but we can laugh at some of those mistakes together. And when we do so, we can stretch forth together and truly create a world where our children are not judged by the color of their skin, where they grew up, what they have access to, but by the content of their character. Together, we can lead a mothering movement that challenges injustice, that leads our communities to dream again, to imagine again. We together can nurture not only our children, but the world. I'm so glad to have joined you for these brief moments so that we together can reflect, can think together, and hopefully together we can build a mothering movement. I want to congratulate our honorees again today. Thank you to everyone who's working in collaboration with Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies of Georgia to make our state a place where every mother and every baby has the resources necessary to support and be healthy and thrive. Thank you for having me this day.
Bravo, bravo. I sense a standing ovation here. I told you Reverend Rice is powerful. and just pragmatic in her remarks. And I think, it moved us all. But the mother movement that she talked about, how important and how timely is that in a time such as this? So, Reverend Rice, thank you for being here today. Thank you for your poignant remarks and moving us onward and upward in what we do. So, again, another round of applause for our dynamic speaker today. It is now my pleasure, the time has come, for you guessed it, the annual contest with a virtual hat parade. I love a parade, don't you? Please be ready if you are on Zoom and turn your cameras on. We will now be cycling through everyone. Put your lipstick on, put your face on, but more importantly, put that hat on right now. We will now be cycling through everyone with us today who is wearing a hat. Our judges, they're out there looking. They're looking at you right now. They're looking closely at those chapeaux there, and I see some beautiful ones there. Boy, Jennifer, you have a nice one on there. I like that. And Kimya, I see yours. Oh my goodness, Sarah, yours is cute too. Look at Julie. Julie and her two beautiful daughters. Are those your daughters, Julie? Just shake yes or no. Julie's standing by there. They all have their beautiful hats ready to go here. We are going to be awarding the best hat overall, and you will get 4 passes to the beautiful Atlanta Botanical Gardens. We'll be awarding the most unique hat, a micro factory tour at Atlanta Chocolate, a tasting for 6 there. So you are on the parade right now. Smile, give us your best smiles as the judges go through and look at some of those beautiful hats there. I see quite a few that I would like to take home with me. I'm shoveling through too. Thank you guys for participating, and you know how important that is, because we as mothers, as you heard Reverend Rice just talk about, we wear so many hats. You're enjoying this time with us today, but I bet you're also thinking about how you have to cook dinner. Some kids are going back to school tomorrow physically, so I'm sure you're worried about that. Some schools are going back virtually, and you're like, now I have to be a teacher. I have to wear that hat as well. So we just thank you so much for taking part. Pam Jackson, that's a lovely hat that you're wearing today. Ooh, I love that. Pink, as you know, is one of my favorite colors. So we thank you all for participating. Judges, are you getting a good view? We see some beautiful hats here, and we just thank you guys. I know this is a little different for you. You're used to being in a room full of love and just seeing one another and laughing, but we're doing it from afar this time. But we thank you for joining us and wearing your hats, because that's a symbol of who we are as mothers, as women, and our young people. So again, judges are taking a few more minutes to judge the hats here in this beautiful hat parade. Smile, everyone. I think you all should be winners. You all are winners, in my opinion. But the judges they're taking a quick look. Again, they're looking for the best overall hat and the most unique hat. Best overall, best unique. And there are some pretty ones there. I'm trying to see them all myself. All different colors. They all have different rhythms. Thank you all. The judges, boy, they have a hard job ahead of them because there's so many beautiful hats. We're going to take a quick break as they tally the scores. Thank you so much, ladies. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Hello again, ladies. We want to welcome you back to the 4th annual Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies, Inspiring Mothers of Georgia Awards Luncheon. It is such a treat and such a pleasure to have you here today, and we thank you for your diligence. We know that this is so unusual. You're at home, you're signed in to Zoom, Facebook, what have you, but we want you to know that we appreciate your presence, we appreciate you being here, and I'm giving you one big hug because this is a very special day and a special moment. We're here to celebrate some pretty amazing women, some pretty amazing mothers, some pretty amazing trailblazers who are really making their mark not only in the Atlanta area but all across Georgia. We are here today to say thank you. So it is now my pleasure to introduce a compilation highlighting the lives of our 6 incredible honorees. HMHB received nominations from all over the state, like I just indicated, and all of them were incredibly powerful. This was a remarkably competitive process, and these 6 women, I tell you, are top of the line. They are here with us today, and with their loved ones joining us online as well, and some people from their communities, and they just embody the characteristics of strength, compassion, love, kindness, generosity, and sacrifice and caring. So right now, it is my honor to introduce to you the 2020 Inspiring Mothers of Georgia.
My name is Amy Ard. 3 years ago, moved back into the house that I was born in and lived there with my husband, 3 kids, and my mom. I have an almost 13-year-old daughter, a 10-year-old son, and an almost 7-year-old son. They all play the violin, and every night at about 6 p.m. we head out to our front porch and do a little concert for our neighbors. I'm the executive director of Motherhood Beyond Bars, and it's a nonprofit in Georgia. I have been a doula for 11 years, and it was through the work of being a doula that I really was introduced to the work of prison work as well. One time I was at the hospital, and I walked out of the hallway and saw a pair of shackles on a gurney in the hallway. The door in the room next to me opened up, and an armed guard walked out of this room. I was supporting a family and realized that in the room next to mine, there could be very well a woman shackled to a bed with an armed guard as her only support person. And that's the day that my idea of doula work kind of turned upside down, and I realized that I wanted to support the most vulnerable women. Until pretty recently, it was legal to shackle pregnant women, to shackle women who were actively in labor and immediately in the postpartum period. And so when I moved to Georgia, I started looking for people who were working on this issue and found a small but really committed group of individuals, particularly a woman named Pamela Wynn, who had experienced shackling herself and lost a baby as a result of that. And I'm excited that on October 1st of 2019, the governor signed our legislation. It's no longer admissible. You can no longer shackle a pregnant woman either in prison or in jails in Georgia. The only reason that the work that I do is possible is because we live in a house with my mom. And my mother living in our house is the reason that the trains run on time, that the children are dressed, and that is absolutely true. There's always going to be give and take when you live in a place with many generations living together. The fact that my kids have the benefit of being loved by their mom, their dad, and their grandmother who's there with them, that's just the greatest gift.
My name is Danita Howland-Sells. I am married to Brian Sells. We have a daughter, she's 12 months old. Her name is Sarah Elizabeth. I founded In-Town Pediatric and Adolescent Medicine in 2006. I went into pediatrics in the first place because I feel like to save the world, we need to make sure we're taking care of our children. Our motto became Your Friendly Neighborhood Pediatrician. We intentionally placed ourselves in the community. We had our families who were living behind and around and across the street from us. We would literally stand on the out in front and wave down pregnant moms and say, "Hey, do you have a pediatrician yet? We're right here." It was my goal really to understand that we are raising children who are parts of families and parts of neighborhoods and parts of communities, and so being able to understand who they are and who their families are help helps them grow better and be healthier. And it takes a lot of help to balance being a pediatrician and a business owner and a mom to a 12-month-old. I have an incredible husband. He got me to start the practice in the first place, and would even in the very beginning was answering phones on Saturday mornings for me and cheering me on the whole way. I'm president of the board of a political action committee called New Power. That's probably where I spend a lot of my time, and we have a nonprofit arm as well. Our work is to help get more women elected to office in Georgia. We have a nonprofit that we work with within the office called Reach Out and Reid, which I love, and actually my partner is sort of the primary organizer for that. But we all participate and give books out to children at their checkups. A few years ago, my husband was inspired by Michelle Obama to actually start our own home garden. And so we started with just a few raised beds, and now we've evolved to about 24. And I've always wanted to be a beekeeper. And when we moved here a few years ago and had a little more space, we decided we could put our beehives in with the chickens. They're grateful to have it. It's good decompression time to be out there getting your hands dirty.
My name is Tracy Moore, and I grew up in Georgia, in North Georgia. I'm married to Scott Moore. I have 6 boys. 4 of those boys are biological: Jacob, Cameron, Trevor, and Nathan. We have 2 adopted sons, Samuel Cage and Trenton. Samuel Cage is 8 and Trenton is 5. And we were actually foster parents for probably about 10 years. And we had a lot of different foster kids, but we did adopt these 2 boys. And they're our last boys who we ever had as foster parents. Our journey into fostering, I think, probably really began when I was a child, and that was hearing my mom talk about her experience in foster care. She was actually in an orphanage and in a foster home for 2 years of her young life. So it was just inspiring to me, even to hear the difficulty in her story, just how being in a loving family and a loving orphanage, how it really changed the trajectory of her life. And I think it created something in my heart, just a desire to give back. But we continue to be big advocates for the foster care system. Adopted our first son in 2013, and then we were approached by DFACS about another son who had some significant special needs. Some of them were similar to our son Cage. And we said yes to him. A little bit scary again. I can't imagine our lives without them. And I just really decided that I wanted to do something different, that I wanted to finally pursue my certification in counseling. So I will be starting that in June of this year, finally pursuing that lifelong dream of counseling women and children.
My name is Kimya Motley. I am a mom, I'm an author, an advocate, the CEO of Haven of Light International, and a survivor of gun violence due to domestic violence. I have 2 children, Theron, he's 25 years old, and Corinne is 19 years old. I was married to this man that I thought was the love of my life, and we were married for maybe a year, and he took the mask off and he became abusive. We ended up separating after a period of time and a series of going back and forth, because I thought at the time that he would change, not really understanding the dynamics of abuse. But when I finally put my foot down and I said, okay, I'm gonna stand up for my life, for my children's lives, I told him that I wanted a divorce, and that's the number one thing you're not supposed to do when you are an abused woman. You're supposed to have a safety plan. Well, he met me at my daughter's daycare center on September 20th, 2011, around 6:30 in the morning, and he ambushed us. He shot me with a .38 in my face, in my neck, in the back of my head, and in my back. He went on to shoot my daughter, who was 10 years old at the time, 1 time in the head. We were not expected to live, past that tragedy, but we did by God's grace. And I just felt that because I survived something like that, it was my duty to help women going through domestic violence or women who wanted to escape it. Back when Governor Deal was governor, he gave me a commendation for being a leading domestic violence advocate. Well, abuse takes on different forms. Sometimes it's isolating you from the outside world, isolating you from friends and family. It's about controlling you. A lot of women that stay in these relationships are there because they're fearful of something. And when you show them just a little bit of light, just a little bit of hope, you're not trapped.
then they feel free to go ahead and move forward with their lives.
So my name is Jenny Cochran, and I'm the mother of 3 amazing teenagers, and I have a background in childbirth education. I'm currently teaching childbirth classes part-time, and I'm also working at Chick-fil-A. I'm the founder of Embrace Refugee Birth Support, and up until the end of 2019, I was also the director. Back in 2009, I started thinking about the refugee community here in Clarkston and realized that as a childbirth educator and as a labor doula, I had a service that I could provide to women if there was a need. We began to realize that there was a greater need than just helping with appointments and being a birth support for them during their birthing time. And so we began Embrace, and from there Embrace began to grow. We provide childbirth classes, and in those classes the women meet for 8 weeks, and they're learning about how to stay healthy during their pregnancy. They're learning how to advocate for themselves and what that looks like, especially for many women around the world. Self-advocacy is not even heard of, it's not understood, and that is a large component of what we're trying to teach women. My biggest inspiration, I would have to say, are the women in my family. My mother, first and foremost, and my aunts. One in particular who has always been an activist in her community. Even as children, she taught us a lot about what it looks like to consider others and to the importance of giving back and to fight for those whose voices maybe aren't being heard. So something that I would say to any new mother is to show yourself grace. It's going to be bumpy. There are going to be some days that you just feel like you've won Mom of the Year, and other days where you feel like somebody should just lock you away and never let you, talk to your children again. And it's okay. You're going to be just fine. And you have to show yourself grace, and you have to show grace to your children. You're trying to figure out who you are as a mother. They're trying to figure out just who they are. And just take a deep breath, and every day's a new day.
Hi, I'm Kenyatta Williams. I'm from Macon, Georgia, born and bred. I am a mother of 2 boys, Justin, who is 14, and Jaden, who is 12. Then I have 3 beautiful foster daughters. Ava is 3, Isabella is 4, and Layla is 19 months, and she's the boss. Justin was a 24-weeker. He weighed 1 pound and 3 ounces at birth. He even had a G-button, and from time to time he'll show people his G-button scar. So he has a very soft heart for Ava. Anything Ava needs, he does it. She's medically fragile. She's a trait baby. She has a list of things wrong with her, so you have to be very skilled to take care of her. She loves to be cuddled. She made all the fuss so she could get hugged and kissed on. She's content. She has been through so much, and God has really blessed her. Not most foster parents deal with the parents, but I am currently co-parenting with their mom because she wants to get them back. We have open communication. I allow her to FaceTime her kids. We go to the doctor's appointments. We even throw birthday parties for the girls. Basically, I have took her in as part of the family as well. So being a caregiver, I have done that basically all my life, from working in the healthcare field all the way to taking care of my grandmother, who was diagnosed with dementia in 2007. I cared for her all the way to January 2017 when she passed. I have always taken care of children. I raised my aunt daughter from the time she was 8 years old to basically till now. She's 27. So many babies, so many kids need a loving home, and that's an inspiration to me to try to provide that for somebody.
I have never had a problem with handing out participation trophies. In fact, I kind of love these things, you know, the ones that you get when you just show up and play the game. And I have received a fair number of participation trophies in my life, not the MVP, not even the most improved, just what you get when you show up. And I think if there has ever been a moment in time when we should be handing out participation trophies, it's right now. There's no time for sitting by and watching these tragedies unfold on computer or television screens. This is a moment in time that really calls us all to participate, to find active and concrete ways to give back to our communities. And I think we're all called to do what mothers, fathers, caregivers do every single day, which is to protect and to teach and to bind up the wounds and to show compassion and love every single day, even sometimes when we don't feel like we get much back in return. And so today's honor feels a little overwhelming because not only are you saying through these lovely awards and the gifts that you sent to my front door and the lovely things that you've been saying that I've participated, that I've showed up, but you have also said that I've inspired others. And for that, I am humble and very grateful. But the number of people who have inspired me along the way, well, that would take up the rest of our afternoon. And so I do just want to say thank you to a handful. One, the advocates that are on this call today and in this room, especially Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies Coalition. I have watched your work in the Capitol. I have watched your work in communities, and I have always been inspired by your commitment to mothers and children around this state. To my own children, I want to thank them for loving one another and for loving me. And I realize and I want for all families to have the kind of special magic that we seem to have sprinkled on us. That compels me to get up every morning and work hard. And I want to thank my husband, my partner, my co-conspirator, my North Star, who has encouraged, not just inspired, but encouraged me along this path. I love you. And finally, I thank my original mother, someone who doesn't deserve just a participation trophy. She gets the full MVP award for Best Mother. None of the work that we're doing now, either Michael or me, would be possible without her. And it's one of my greatest life joys to be able to share this space with you. And finally, I am grateful for the opportunity to walk into prisons, to work with mothers who have been in prison and jail, and to learn from them. And I realize that the brightest lights sometimes shine in the darkest places. And I have been inspired by their stories. Every day they get up and fight and advocate and work to make sure that their lives and their children's lives are better. And I hope we can all just commit to a day when we honor every mother and every child as a beloved member of our community. And I am grateful for all of you who do that work every day, and honored to be among these other 5 women whose stories I just brought me to tears. So thank you so much for this honor. I am very pleased to be with you today.
Okay. It is such a humbling experience to receive this award today. I'm so thankful to be here. And I wanted to just say that I believe that it's not possible to even be here today without the people who are behind me, supporting me, walking alongside me. And so I wanted to thank my brother Matt for nominating me. That meant a lot to me. And I also would like to thank my mother, who is my inspiration for mothering. She has been a rock, raising 6 children, and has done such a gracious and loving job. And it has taught me a lot about what it looks like to truly lay down your life for other people, not just my own children, but for other people's families as well. And I'd also like to thank my aunt today for teaching me about civil rights and the importance of speaking up for those who haven't been heard, and to also learn how to step back so that they can step into the spotlight as well. I'd like to thank Liz Johnson, my dear friend who believed in the work of serving refugee women in the Clarkston community, and for Heidi Miller and Tracy Nolan for taking up that mantle and continuing that great work today. I would especially like to thank the women who have come alongside us at Embrace. Some of them came as women themselves, seeking out services during their pregnancy, looking to educate themselves and learn how to advocate for themselves, but then also brought in other women from their community to receive those services. These women are a special inspiration to me in how they have truly sacrificed, leaving their home countries, leaving friends and family, and coming to a new country and learning the culture and the language, and not just surviving, but really thriving and growing and helping other people achieve their goals as well. They are a true inspiration to me. And finally, I'd love to thank my family, my husband for his continuous support to follow the calling to serve others in the Clarkston community and beyond that. And then to my family, willing to make the sacrifices that it takes to let their mom do the work that she needed to do. And it is just such an honor to be here today. And I'm so thankful for all those who have come before me. And I am excited to see those who come behind and the great work that they do. And to even be here amongst all of these honorees is just, it is truly humbling to be here today. And so I just thank you, Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies, for this opportunity.
Thank you, Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies, for this award. I am completely humbled. And I just want to say that I am just a regular gal trying her best, trying to be a good mom. So thank you. I also want to thank you for giving us all something to look forward to during this time of COVID, when life can get so monotonous because of sheltering in. This has given me something to reflect on and to look forward to, and I want to thank you for that. During this time of sheltering in, I have really tried to practice gratitude daily throughout the day. And I would be remiss not to mention the people who I am thankful for because of what they've contributed to my life as far as being a mother. So I wanted to start out with some of the women in my life who've been great examples of motherhood. My first two would be my grandmothers. And this hat actually belonged to one of my grandmothers. And I guess back in the day, maybe 50 or 60 years ago, it was pretty fancy. It's probably the fanciest thing that she ever owned. But she suffered much adversity and poverty. She suffered a good bit during her life. But she loved me well. She was a great example of being a grandmother. She loved me sacrificial. She was a whole lot of fun to be around. You never knew what she was going to say. And I enjoyed her thoroughly, and I'm thankful for her. Her daughter was my mother, and my mother also suffered a good bit of adversity. She had a hard life starting out, but my mother has loved me extravagantly and sacrificially my whole life. She's been a great example of a mom and a grandmother. Also want to thank my mother-in-law who welcomed me 31 years ago as a daughter, really. Welcomed me with open arms and has loved me as her own. Also want to thank my husband because he is my rock on earth. He's my greatest encourager. He's a huge source of support. He makes me laugh every single day, and I just think that that is so important. I also wanted to thank my 6 sons. They are beautiful boys. I love to watch them live their lives. I love to watch them love Jesus, and I love to watch them love the people in their lives. And perhaps most importantly, I wanted to thank Jesus. He is the author and perfecter of my faith. He is the only source of goodness and grace in my life, and I am grateful for his sustenance that he provides. Again, thank you, Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies. Kudos to you for supporting mothers. Motherhood is a high and holy calling. Keep up the good work supporting moms and their children. Thank you.
recipient of this Inspiring Mother of Georgia Award. You know, like we've been told earlier today, mothers do wear a lot of hats. I am a CEO, I'm an author, I'm a survivor, all these many things, but the most important hat I wear is mother. I am so thankful to God for blessing me with my son, Theron, my daughter, Corinne, and my Pomeranian, Peanut. And I am so thankful to Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies of Georgia for giving me this award, Dr. Carrie Norris for nominating me for this award. I especially want to thank my sister, Sandy. A lot of times I say, you know, I'm a single mom, but I really haven't been. Over the last 25 years, she's been right beside me, being my confidant, and most of all, my weekend babysitter. Sandy, you're the real MVP. I also want to thank my niece, Courtney, for being a personal cheerleader to my children. Courtney is more than just my niece. She's like another daughter to me. I want to thank my friends and family who have laughed with me, cried with me, prayed with me, just shown up to help me be the best mother I could possibly be. It really does take a village to raise children. And finally, I want to thank my children, Theron and Corinne. You all are so amazingly selfless to share me with the world as I go out here trying to help end violence against women and children. You're right there alongside me. Corinne, you always bake the sweetest treats for me when I'm feeling down to give me comfort. And Theron, you're always introducing the newest, coolest, funniest videos to take my mind off of the things that I have to listen to, you know, to be able to really show up for women out here. So thank you so much for being amazingly awesome children. And, you know, I want all of you all to think about a few things. Like, as our nation is, you know, under assault, if you will, by this pandemic, we could focus so much on the negative things that are happening, because there's a lot of negative things that are happening. But I want to ask you to do three things. One, I want you to consider that during this time, that assault against women is at an all-time high. Domestic violence is very high. So if you have anybody that reaches out to you, if you just think something is going on, if you see something, say something, and be an open ear for women that want to be able to share their experiences with you. And two, I want you to reconnect with your family in a new and different way. I know my children would say, hey, they're happy about the pandemic because I cook a lot more, right? And I can honestly say I've reconnected with them in ways that I wouldn't have if this pandemic hadn't happened. So I invite you to do that. And finally, as a mom, this job is tough. So you've got to reconnect with yourself. Find those things that you love to be able to do so that you can show up as your most authentic self as well. So thank you again for this amazing award, and you all have a wonderful afternoon.
Hello, everyone. I just want to thank Healthy Mothers and Healthy Babies for honoring us today. Listening to everyone's story today, you guys are awesome. It truly takes a village to raise children. I was actually nominated by another working mother, a young woman named Rebecca, working with Care Source. I met her a few years ago, and she decided that I should be nominated for an award because of the many hats that I do wear. I wear the hat of a friend, mother, with Ava, a doctor, nurse, you name it, and I wear many hats. So I would like to also thank my village, my mother and my father, Kim and Joe Aaron. If it wasn't for them helping me with the older kids and sometimes the younger two, I probably would lose my mind. Also, my cousin Brittany,
she helps out a lot too. She is my backup person for Ava when if I'm down and out, she has to come and help with her. It's a lot of work. I have a good friend that also comes and help me with my kids. Her name is Kay Saunders Stevens. I want to thank her as well. And her daughter, they come up and pull up in the rear and assist me with the girls as often as they can. And there's a few other people. If I forget their names, I do apologize. Also, Ava's care team, her doctors, her nurses. If it wasn't for them teaching me about how to take care of a trait baby, I would be lost. My church family, they have been a very big support system as well. I really love being a mother. I really love helping people, period. It gives me great joy to be able to help my friends, my family, strangers, to overcome different situations. Caregiving has been in my blood forever, since I can remember, and becoming a foster parent has fulfilled that caregiver eagerness that I have. So I would like to again say thank you, Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies, for honoring me today, and the other mothers as well. Everybody be blessed.
Good afternoon, fellow honorees and guests. It is an enormous honor to be with you all today. When my friend Julie Saharatos told me she wanted to nominate me, I was surprised and humbled. Julie knows my rather tortured path to motherhood. I certainly did not think of it as inspiring, but as I shared it more and more, I am grateful that my experiences can help and motivate others. As long as I can remember, I've wanted to be a mother. My own mother is a very fun one. She's a seamstress and a craft queen. She was my Girl Scout leader for years, and we did lots of projects around the house as well as with our troop. She could also be firm when necessary, and at the time I may not have liked it, but now I understand that balance and firmness is so important. I'm the oldest of four, and I guess I always felt like my mom's junior assistant. I loved bossing my siblings around, and when I was old enough, I babysat and was a camp counselor and eventually became a pediatrician. I absolutely love taking care of kids of all ages and helping their parents do the same. My husband and I tried for many years to become parents. We were finally successful when we became foster parents to a sibling group of 4. It was the most amazing and challenging time of our lives. Those 4 were the first to call me mom, and I love them to this day, even though we were unable to permanently keep them in our family. They taught me that there is no way to be a perfect mother, and as a recovering perfectionist, that was a hard lesson to learn. But as Jill Churchill said, there's no way to be a perfect mother and a million ways to be a good one. Now we are the parents of a toddler born to us via surrogate, and every day it is a privilege to work at being a good mom to Sarah Elizabeth. It is also my absolute privilege to work with my patients' mothers and fathers to be good parents. Again, I am so humbled and honored to be among this 2020 class of inspiring mothers. Thank you, Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies Coalition of Georgia, for including me. Thank you, Julie, for thinking of me. Thank you to my dear husband, Brian, and to my friends and family who hold me up every day. Have a wonderful afternoon, everyone.
Wow, that's all I can say. The past few minutes have been just riveting. Hearing our honorees' story one after the other just gave me chills. It began with Amy, who said, as mothers, we simply show up. We show up and the rest happens. Another round of applause to all of our beautiful, just outstanding nominees. You gave a charge to me to be a better person, a better mother, a better woman, to be a better person in this society. I want to say congratulations once again to all of you for truly, truly inspiring us all. And we're just so grateful. We're just so grateful for this moment. We're so grateful that you shared your story and your space with us today. It has been such a privilege to hear these stories, to be a part of this, and to serve as your MC today. Thank you for the overwhelming love, compassion, leadership, just everything incredible about yourselves that you shared with us today. Thank you, and thank you. The work is, as you know, far from over for healthy mothers, healthy babies. It has so many incredible programs making a difference, and they need your support, as you know. So before you leave the room, before you sign off for the day, please take one moment to donate. Every single dollar, every single penny, every single contribution counts and ensures that our mothers get the resources and support that they need. It is now my honor to announce the winners of the Best Overall and Most Unique Hat Contest. The winners will be contacted by email after the event to get your award. So drum roll, please. For the Best Overall Hat, that goes to Diane Francis. Diane, congratulations. Diane, thank you for your beautiful hat and sporting such a very, very unique one. Congratulations. There it is. Isn't that beautiful? I love it. Kind of white lace fringe. We love it. And it looks good on you. Drum roll, please. For the most unique hat, the winner is Elaine Armster. Elaine, thank you so much for your most unique hat, for taking part today and sharing that with us. We thank you all. Oh, there it is, unique. Isn't that gorgeous? The polka dots. We love that. Yay, and that looks good on you. That's beautiful. We want to thank you so much for sharing your many hats with us today. They were all beautiful. You're all winners in our book. So please take a photo of yourself in your hat today and share it with us on the social media hashtag, so the whole world can see, right? At hashtag HMHB2020. We'll be looking for you on social media. Please continue to engage with us online. We love chatting with you on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, where you can see more follow-ups today. If you know of an inspired woman, aspiring mother rather, or even an inspiring grandmother, please consider nominating her next year. Hopefully we'll see you in person, but if not, Godspeed. Thank you so much for taking part today. Hope you had a fabulous day. Thank you for being here.